It comes down to jealousy as well, because when people, especially young black people, are doing well and succeeding, certain people don't like that.
Stereotypes are placed upon black people that were the violent ones, were the troubled ones in society. As a young black boy from South East London, it can put you in a negative position because you're always scrutinised wherever you go. That kind of gives us a disadvantage in our confidence.
So many years after Stephen Lawrence was robbed of his future, the powerful and depressing accounts of some young black Londoners. Why has so little changed? I'm joined by Wizdom, who was 14 when Stephen was murdered. He says it changed the course of his life, which led him to working with young people. And by Matt Chisty, former Met commander. Thank you both for coming to talk to me this evening. Wizdom, if I can start with you, why is it that the colour of your skin still matters in 2018?
It's a much wider issue, as I'm sure you're aware, but it is, we stand out. You obviously are seen. It's not something that you can hide. You don't come out of the closet of being black. So it's a case of, because there have been things that people have perceived us in a specific way, we are trying to support each other and we are moving forward, but we're not always seen in the most positive of lights. And we're trying to make sure that with things like Black Panther, we support seeing really positive black role models out there doing fantastic things. Seeing that film go now past Titanic has been amazing for us as a community, and we have the likes of Lewis Hamilton, but there's still a long way for us to go for people to, outside of sports and entertainment, see the talents that we have and support young black men and those of different ethnic backgrounds in them moving forward, because I think racism is very much more about the hindrance of people moving forward, and that's the part that we still have to work on.
Racism in society, racism in the police. Is there still racism in the force?
I don't think there's any racism in the force. There may be individual officers who are bad apples, but there's lots of mechanisms to identify those and support for officers who report those. I think, on large, from my own experience after 32 years, officers and staff do want a positive relationship with communities, irrespective of their colour. So
no racism in the Met, or no overt racism in the Met?
I don't think officers are generally racist. I think in amongst there may be some, it's human nature, but there's a lot of mechanisms to identify and deal with those robustly. So to be fair to the officers who come to work every single day, they do want a positive engagement, they want to work with communities, and more importantly, they value how important it is to have the confidence of communities to do their work, to protect communities from some of the violent crime and some of the issues that we're dealing with today.
We've also spoken to the Mayor, Sadiq Khan, about the anniversary of Stephen Lawrence's death. He had a message to black Londoners. Let's just have a listen to this and then I can get your response.
The bad news is our city is still unequal. The bad news is because of the colour of your skin, your life chances are less than somebody whose skin colour was different. I'm afraid the bad news is your career prospects, your experience with the police, with the criminal justice system. When you look at those in positions of power and influence, there are not enough people who look like you. We've got to change that.
Is that changing? Will real change happen soon? You mentioned the film. Is this the beginning of the change?
Yeah, I think what can help the change is having advocates and people who will help young people along the road in understanding how the system works. And once that happens, you do start to see change. So having worked with, as a youth worker, being able to be involved in young people's lives and helping them understand how they can progress in a system that doesn't always look familiar to them or to their parents. Being an uncle for the uncleless is one of the things we used to talk about, is being there to be able to get you into jobs that you might not have access to and explaining how those worlds work. When we have more and more of those, that helps people who don't know this world and the way that the system works navigate it better, and therefore they find it easier to succeed.
Mac, do you think somebody who is Caucasian can ever understand what this debate is about, where you are judged and sometimes held back simply because of the colour of your skin?
I think that's a real challenge, because it's about lived-in experience, it's about understanding, you know, how people look at you when you're black, it's about how people are perceived. It's all the things that Wizdom has just said. It's very, very difficult. And that's why there's a range of support services and a range of education material that help officers and staff to understand how that may be. But that's the reason why it's so important to get a workforce that's truly representative, so there's support in action when you're doing operational duties.
OK, Matt Chisty and Wizdom, thank you very much for your thoughts. Remembering Stephen Lawrence, 25 years on, that anniversary is, of course, this Sunday. OK, so it's time now to take a look at the weekend. And after yesterday's record breaker, it has been another beautiful day in the capital. A full weekend forecast is coming up for you. But if animals